Hello, my name is Pedro Molina. Today I want to talk to you about Essential. Essential is a tool for meta modeling, do meta modeling on the web. Well, the context is that Essential is built at MetaDev. MetaDev is a company with base in Sevilla, Spain, and we are focused on building DSLs and tools for developing software on the web. We focus on conceptual modeling and doing code generation and interpreters for different environments. So we start looking for tools for modeling on the web and seeing that there are lack of tools to work in that scenario, and also to share models and to cope with big models on the cloud. So we are building this kind of technology. So Essential is the second version of a meta modeling tool able to describe meta models and editors also on the web. And we provide just-in-time interpretation of models to provide editors and validators on the fly. So the best thing we can do is just show a demo. As a starting point, the main feature are we can import and export essential meta models, but also eCore or JSON schemas models. We provide editors on the fly and also validation for that models. So let's go to see it in action. Okay, this is Essential. So basically on the left we have the part for meta modeling, and on the right we have the part for ed models, for documents. So let's suppose we start with a small example. Let's start with an example about invoices, very simple one. So this is the meta model for an invoice. You will realize that this is pretty basic stuff. We have three classes: an invoice. This invoice has some properties: name, first name, last name, date, description, line, and taxes. Lines is a list of line. So here we have the line of the invoice with additional properties, but also the invoice has a collection of taxes. So here is the taxes with the properties. So we can add more properties here as needed, and we also have a couple of enumeration. For example, for taxes, the different kind of taxes we can apply, and units. Okay, so if we want to instantiate this model, we can for example load an example of this. Could be an example of an invoice. Okay, so basically we used to have for an invoice first name, last name. So here it is, the first name, last name. If this is required, when I remove this, I will get a validation error. Okay, so here we have the aspect for validation. This is something is missing, we will get a report for that. Here is the list of lines, the list of taxes, and you can keep adding taxes if you need to. You can pick up the type of tax and then introduce a percent in this case. So we can validate this model. You can have also a preview of this model in JSON, YAML, or XML. So what we have here is an editor. It's an editor we build on the fly to allow us to edit that kind of model, that kind of document. For example, imagine that we are missing a code or an ID for the invoice. Okay, so we can add it. We can just add here a property called code. This is the label, and probably it's type string, or we can pick whatever we need. And if needed, we can reorder this and maybe say that the code will be the first one. Okay, so the first time, next time we came here, now the code appears, and now we call invoice 1. Okay, so we can evolve the meta model and the model at the same time, keeping the pace for both changes. Here, for example, the description is HTML file. So let's suppose you change your mind and decide that this is a string. Okay, you can do that. Okay, so next time you arrive here, now this is string, but if you want to, and you are not losing the value, okay, so you can come back to HTML with no, in this case trying to preserve the data with no data lost in this case. Okay, so there is also a graph showing the meta model. In this case, an invoice is composed by these properties. Invoice has a list of invoices, and invoice line has this. So this is visual exploration of the meta model. Of course, we can grow the meta model, add classes, enumeration, and so on. This meta model, you can load meta model, but also you can export this to be essential. This is the format for essential. If you want to edit textual, there is a textual version for essential. So for example, here we define the nums, here we have the classes, and so on. But you can also use a more traditional ENMF core. It's more verbose for interoperation, but as you can see, is not so human friendly. Okay, and JSON schema. Okay, so same thing, 3 different flavors. Okay, you can export when needed. Let me show you another example. Let's open another example. In this case, second example could be, for example, continuous integration. Let's suppose I have a meta model for continuous integration, and here we have a chain, a step, and variable. Okay, and let's open a example for this. It could be this one, this C chain 01. So in this chain has a version number, last update, and a couple of steps and variable. The steps are for a continuous integration. First, install the packages with a specific shell, bash or PowerShell. Next, do the linting. After that, do the testing, and so on. It's a lot of steps that you will be using to build your product. And if you need to configure some environmental variables, here you can pass the values. So there are a lot of tools for continuous integration that follow this pattern, this meta model. So as you can see, this is the usual configuration. You have to declare the data of the chain and then describe the steps with the commands and the steps to execute. Okay, let's do another one. For example, let me show you an example for curriculum vitae. This one from Manfred provides a schema, a JSON schema for curriculum vitae. Okay, so let's load it. This is a bigger one. Let me show you. So here are a lot of concepts that we need to use to describe a curriculum vitae for Manfred. Here I have an example we can pick up also. So basically we have a sample person with the headers of the curricula. We have information about the number of experience and we have all the languages this person speaks, hard skills, soft skills, experience, and so on. So this kind of information is something you can edit here, for example, with a friendly editor like this one. So we can validate that everything is okay, and after that you can send this to serialize to JSON, YAML, or whatever. Whenever you have an schema, then you have an editor, a structure editor for free here. So we have also a read-only version when you can explore the data, but you are not able to change it. Okay, and whenever you need to change some reorder some data, you can also always can reorder and delete and fix whatever you need to. Let's go for another example. Okay, another one I want to show you is workflow. For example, this is work in progress. let's suppose we want to support some kind of workflow. So this is the meta model for my workflow. Okay, and for this example of workflow I want to load an example. So this is the model. Basically I have a workflow with a specific meta model and style for CSS style and some actions I'm going to perform to this task. First I want to load information about the user. I'm going to approve or deny the enrollment of a specific user. So basically the user conforms to this meta model, and this is where I'm going to pick the user coming from. I'm going to approve. I'm picking the user from a specific API, and after that I will get this rendering screen. I will approve or I will deny. So I'm just offering actions for this. So okay, this is another meta model, and this is another example of this meta model. We can review that. Basically this is the user join meta model. Okay, it's a user with 5 properties: first name, last name, email, account. That's it. Here we have an example of this thing. Basically it's Jessica Alba. We want to join and we will say okay or cancel. So based on that we are building an interpreter. We have an interpreter to be able to run workflow dynamically on the web. Basically you get an information, we render it with a specific CSS styles, and then you will approve or deny. So making steps of our workflow is quite simple to integrate with human steps, where you have to decide if you want to continue with the approval or not, and you can run that, receive this in your email, and then respond on the web. Okay, so these kind of things. Also we have been using this to build another more complex tool that is called ST40. ST40 is an editor for software requirements that are used for in the aerospace industry, and this is a standard coming from the European Space Agency. So we have been in collaboration with the Universidad Alcalá de Henares to build this editor for this kind of specification for the European Space Agency. Okay, so let's go inside, and here for example I can show you, we have an example of the solar orbiter, the real one, the saturated sorry, not here, here it is. So basically this is a structured document with all the information that has to appear for the specification of the software of this kind of stuff. So this is a number of applicable documents, reference documents, abbreviation that we are using. Here we have a description about it. So this kind of document contains all the sections that you are expected to have in a document like this. So this kind of documents, by the way, were used to be built with plugins inside of Eclipse. And whenever you change the version of Eclipse, you know that there are a lot of problems with evolving the plugins and the environment, and then this is a hell. When you put your editor on the web, yes, you remove all these problems, because you don't have to install anything. You can do it from scratch, just using a browser. Okay. So this is an example of how we are using this technology that we develop here in Essential. Okay, coming back to our slides. This is Essential, we have seen before, and this is an example we have built for aerospace industry. So basically Essential provides the core technology to create cheap and fast DSLs with editors, fully implemented in TypeScript and Angular, and allows us to transform models and to generate code in the browser or server side. because it doesn't require to install anything. You can use it as software as a service, and it's working on all major evergreen browsers. The user has to install nothing. So some use cases: we can define meta models, we can explore editors of models, we can validate documents, we can import or export to essential format, ECOR, EMF, and models to JSON, XML, YAML, or whatever is needed. And an example, we have shown the one for the aerospace. Okay, we are using this technology in industrial contexts for different customers. And the main idea behind this is that we want to remove all the accidental complexity, basically focusing from non-technical users working with the abstraction layer they need, they expect. So in environments where modeling can benefit from is when you have big models and you want to transfer them on the cloud, or you want a specific projection on the user browser just to see the parts I need to see, and no need to install software locally, as commented before, for security constraints or for the problems that the updates also provides. So we avoid having Eclipse or Visual Studio with plugins in the customer computer. So that's all. Thank you for watching.